And today we're joined with Kellen from Ddream Media. You can get all your home theater needs at Ddream Media, especially a Kaleidescape. We'll talk about Kaleidescape
Hey,
again
thank you,
towards the
Shane.
end of the stream. Yeah. So, guys, we have another month of movies. Let me bring up the screen here. Welcome everybody who is here today in the chat. I'm also streaming to Facebook for the first time today. I don't know who follows me on Facebook, but it's there. So we have a handful of movies today, a couple of which I didn't like at first, but I grew to really love it. I guess we'll get to that one soon. But what's new with you guys first of all?
Go for it,
Kellen?
Luke.
Well, I tell you
Uh,
what, I'm living my best life. I'm very excited. October is a beautiful month for releases for us. So it was great. September, little bit more of a desert. Not as many of the big titles dropped as it came in. In October, we got to get a whole bunch of great stuff that came onto the store. So always very exciting for you when you have that. And we're about to get into the holiday season, so there's going to be a lot of fast turns.
Yep.
A lot of big titles that are just coming up around the corner. And then obviously Black Friday sale looms as we turn towards the end of this month. And then we're just into the end of the year. So very excited. I'm also, I think everybody knows this, I'm a terrible movie snob. And so for me, this is my season. They're going to release all those sad movies full of heart-wrenching detail, and that's where my bread is buttered. I love those films, so very excited to start to get those guys dropping in here.
All
awesome,
right.
awesome.
What's going on over there? I know you're doing an install right now, Kellen.
Yeah, so we are, I guess Sunday we landed in Manhattan, did a walkthrough on Monday for a new exciting job that we have the opportunity to do. And then Monday night caught a flight all the way to Los Angeles. So we're out here just outside of Los Angeles in San Marino doing an awesome theater. So yeah, stepping out for just a second to hop on here and chat some movies. But yeah, that's why I'm kind of in a quiet place in the rental car right now, taking the call. So
Nice. All right, so let's kick off this list here for October, starting with The Wild Robot. Let me blow the screen up here for you guys. Now these
mhm.
movies, I think some of these movies are coming out on 4K Blu-ray soon. Just in case you don't have a Kaleidescape, they'll be out probably another month or two. If you have a Kaleidescape, you can get them now. So download size for this one, Dolby Vision. If you have a Strato V, 64.7 gigs, HDR10, 63.3 gigs. Also in Dolby Atmos, or is it in Dolby Atmos? Now, I saw this at the cinema, my local Dolby Cinema, or my bad, my local cinema in Real 3D, which I think is the preferred way to watch it. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the 4K on the Kaleidescape. Um, I thought this was a great looking movie. It's animated. If you have a 4K HDR display, it looks wonderful. The HDR pops, the colors pop, very vibrant. It's got a very unique look to it, very unique art
Mm-hmm.
style, reminiscent of maybe a little bit
Teenage
like
Mutant
the,
Ninja Turtles.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like TMNT. Um, I I liked the movie. I know some of you guys, I know there's a lot of people that really loved it. I thought it was all right. Maybe I'm a little bit heartless, but I thought it was okay. I did enjoy it. Not in my top 10 best movies of the year. I know people were talking about it being maybe nominated for best picture, possibly, or at least best animated film. So I could see that. But there is another animated movie I did prefer better. But we'll get to that a little bit later. The only real negative thing about this movie for me was that the Dolby Atmos was like zero. I
Mm.
Hmm.
cannot remember a moment in the movie where I saw the balls fly up over my head or even a little peep going over my head, which is very strange because there's a lot of stuff in this movie, like the birds flying. I mean, I think the
Yeah,
main character
the
is a bird.
crash. You didn't get
No,
atmospherics
there's
on the
nothing
crash.
in the crash. No,
Oh,
nothing. There's like
interesting.
nothing. Zero.
Hmm.
Very disappointed. I was really looking forward to this because I saw it at the theaters. I was like, sometimes you can't hear what's going on over the theater because it's just not
Right.
all the time good. Plus, I went into like a standard theater. I didn't go to a Dolby Cinema to watch the 3D. So I was like, oh, maybe I'm just missing overhead. I'm sure they don't have Atmos in this auditorium. But yeah, I was excited to watch this, and I was really let down. There's just nothing there. I mean, just visually, yeah. I mean, I would give it like 9.5 maybe just for like visuals. But if I was gonna do audio, I'm gonna have to start you off at like a 5 for audio just because it's no Atmos. It's just 7.1. So sorry, Wild Robot
I know
fans.
you get lost in the Atmos. I'm still one of those that, yes, it's awesome to have that kind of atmospheric overhead effects. I don't think it's the end all be all, but it is cool. And with this movie, that it could have easily added to the movie a little more of the effect, because the audio did sound good. It's not like the audio was crappy or anything. It's just, yeah, there wasn't that, you're in that bubble, you're in that world with that robot and the animals and that sort of thing. So totally understand where you're coming from. And the theater is where I saw it the first time, and I really didn't, like you said, it's hard to tell what's really good in some of the theaters, especially where I'm at, kind of in the rural parts of Kentucky. There's not these overly crazy, just insane, awesome theaters. But there is a crazily, insanely awesome theater in my house. And that's where, yeah, you just, it could have easily just been an amazing movie to have just a better audio track, to throw you into that world a little more and immerse you into that world. But um, unfortunately missed the mark on that spectrum. But
Yeah,
overall, the movie I thought was great.
yeah,
I did really enjoy it with the kids and everything like that. I thought it was a great movie. Stylistically, I thought it was pretty sweet. Visually, awesome. So that was kind of
Yeah,
my take on Wild Robot. I really enjoyed it.
yeah, go ahead and put it on the ballot. This is going to be on the Best Animated Features
yeah.
Academy noms list. There's no question about it. It's based on a great moving book, and it's translated to the screen incredibly well. It's really well written. It's pretty sparse in the way that it comes through together, but it's some really great performances. I thought Pedro Pascal was really entertaining. Lupita Nyong'o sort of has to carry that particularly strange role of the robot, and that orbiting from something cooler to something more human over the course of the journey of the film, which was, I thought, really engaging as a hook that comes in. And I loved the visual style. It reminded me, it did have a little bit of that TMNT flair, but that TMNT flair had felt even more, you know,
Hand drawn.
yeah, it felt more like I was watching a cartoon, and this felt more painterly even. This was like I can't even think of the last movie that I saw that had this particular style. I My reference jumps like right to video games. It has that Breath of the Wild from the Legend of
Hmm.
Zelda series look, where it's got something that feels very much like a moving painting that you're going through in its set design and backgrounds. That was the hook. I honestly, it's great. I didn't see a review that you dropped on this one, Shane. So I was always going to be curious to see where the audio dropped for you. I just didn't pay attention to it that much. It didn't have an enhancement layer, so nothing stood out to me. But it didn't end up taking away from what the film was. It was a great family line title, and a really a beautiful little film.
Yeah, I mean, as far as just enjoyment factor, yeah, I did like the movie. It's just that, if we're just going from specs and technical standpoint, I feel like if you're gonna label, not you guys, but like the studio is gonna say, hey, it's got Dolby Atmos. Like I expect Dolby Atmos. I don't expect,
It,
if I order a cheeseburger, I expect cheese on it. I don't want a hamburger.
yeah, no,
So
it's a DAMF wrap. Like there's metadata and everything to point it to different
yeah,
speakers. It's just sound engineers make the decisions about how they want everything to pop out and play out.
yeah, but enjoyment factor, I would say if you have a Kaleidescape or a Blu-ray player, I think it's a must own, especially if you have a family for sure. So if you want just a good movie, then yeah, it's definitely going to do it for you. And a lot of people don't have dedicated home theaters, so you're not even going to miss out on the Atmos effects. So there's always that. The next movie coming up, we got my personal favorite of the month.
Oh,
This is Alien Romulus. This is Dolby
no
Vision,
spoilers.
71.4
This is
gigs.
the only
No
one on the
spoilers.
list that I didn't get to
Okay.
watch. So
Um,
super excited to watch it when I get home and have some time. So
yeah, you got to, man. HDR10 is 71 gigs. This is only $30. Well worth it. I mean, if this was like a Warner Brothers $40 purchase, I would still happily pay for it. I didn't think I was gonna like this going into it because I just felt like the cast looked like children. I mean, they still kind of are children. Um, but we do find out that they are young people in the movie. Yes, I think it was acknowledged. And there's a couple of lines that are a little cringy. I don't want to say what it is. My bad. Sorry, I almost spoiled it for you, Kellen. Other than that, I mean, this is a great looking movie. It's a dark movie. I mean, I saw the HDR10. I'm sure probably the Dolby Vision probably looks better for black levels and shadow
Yeah.
detail and all that. But I got a Lumigen, so I don't have to worry about that. Uh, but it's got a. I mean, we shot digitally, but it's still got a nice filmic look to it. Not super bright and vibrant, but the colors that are there, the reds contrast really nice with the black. The specular highlights are so good, and the audio. Man, there's a couple movies already I gave a 10 this year. This is another one. I think I gave Furiosa a 10. This is the 10 as well. I might actually prefer this more than Furiosa. I think
mm,
this might be my favorite mix this year. It's atmospheric. It's got some good action moments. The face huggers in the background, just the footsteps.
The
Man, so
skittering,
good.
the
Yeah.
skittering of the alien creatures.
Oh man, it's so good. This is one of my favorite movies this year for sure, 100%. Like I said, it's $30. It's a good entry into the franchise. I would say it's probably the best one after two. So I would go part one, two. Well, I would probably say part two, part one, part three, and then the rest you can kind of brush away.
Yeah,
Oh wait, hold on. If we're counting Prometheus, I really did like Prometheus. All right, so I'd say part two, part one, Prometheus. Then I would put this one as my
yeah.
fourth favorite.
I think it's not a spoiler to say where it lands in the chronology. This is a movie that's supposed to take place after Alien and before Aliens, which is an interesting choice, right? Like, I think that watching how you build out a franchise and you choose where you put things in the chronology, not something that folks have done a lot of before. Fede Alvarez, is mostly known as a horror director, and that
Hmm.
100% shows in how this movie was put together. It is a movie that is focused on the great elements of audio that you find in horror, not necessarily things that you have to see, but things that you hear that are part of the, not just atmospherics, but are part of the narrative. It was part of how you're supposed to be drawn in, to feel sort of at risk in this movie all of the time.
Yeah.
I truly, I think a very entertaining, wonderfully mastered film, and well worth watching. Well worth watching.
Yeah, 100%. Kellen, your take on it? Oh, you didn't see it.
uh, I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see it eventually.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's so good. You got to crank it too. You got to crank that movie. It's so good. Let's go on to the next one here. The next one is Transformers 1. This one is in Dolby Vision, 65.2 gigs and 61.2 gigs for the HDR10. This one I also saw at the theater. I wasn't going to see this at the theater, but I got a nice recommendation by fellow YouTuber Haterade. He said it was one of the best movies he's seen for the Transformers franchise. I didn't believe it because it looked like a children's movie from all the trailers, so I was going to skip it. But thankfully, I saw it at the Dolby Cinema, and I was blown away. I thought this rivaled the '86 version. It was so good. I didn't think it was going to be that good, but it was really good. I saw it in 3D IMAX. So first time seeing it in 4K was at the house. What a great looking movie. I mean, out of the animated movies on this list today, this one is my favorite. It
Mhm.
didn't hit the heart like Optimus Prime dying in the '86 version, but it was still really good. We got to see a rebirth of Optimus. Well, not really a rebirth. The birth of Optimus Prime, rather, in this
yeah,
one. HDR rock. The colors are great. It's bright. It's vibrant. It's got all the colors you want for 4K HDR. Unfortunately, like the Wild Robot, there's like, well, I wouldn't say there's zero. There's like 2% Atmos in this mix. I mean, I could count. I don't know if I put a list of all the Atmos moments in the video or not, but I remember I did that for Planet of the Apes. But this one, man, it's like, well, the moments are like, you can put it on one hand. There's like 2 minutes or so of Atmos effects, and they're like 1 or 2 seconds a pop. It sucks because for these movies where I was so amped up to hear this at home, because for some reason in my mind, I was like, this sounded so good at Dolby Cinema. What happened for the home mix? Maybe they just really got lazy on it or whatever. But there, man, it was so disappointed. I woke up at like 4 in the morning because on the East Coast, these things drop at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. I sat here for like the first hour. I was like, what is, I say, I stayed up all night for this, man. There's no Atmos. And I was just looking at my iPad, the Atmos viewer the whole time. I was like, I gotta be missing something. Refresh, refresh. Nothing. This is Transformers. Transformers is known to have the best Atmos mixes, at least the live action ones. This one just missed the mark. I forgot what I gave it, but I think I gave it like a 5 or something like that. Maybe. Yeah, I think I gave it like a
Yeah,
5 or
you're not.
5.5.
You're 5 or 6. You're. It's definitely sub 7.
God, it was such a disappointment. Visually, awesome. Movie, awesome. 100% buy
Yep.
it if you're a fan. But what's your take?
No, I think it's surprising how visually awesome it is. I think that a lot of people were a little bit alienated. This, more than the other animated movies that we watched, has an animation style that looks really computer generated. It looks like CG animation. I mean, all of them are CG animated, but this
Yeah.
one looks blockier and more mechanical initially. And so I think people were ill prepared as they came in. That there is a good script. There is
Yeah.
an interesting friends to enemies narrative that you're going to get to follow as it comes in the story, and it's pretty well assembled in order to kind of keep the action that's actually taking place brisk and bright. I love the transportation scenes on the train. I thought they played really well visually. A couple of the action set pieces, especially at the end. I thought Brian Tyree Henry, who did the Megatron work, especially good in this movie, sort of as the hook of somebody sort of who's enraged and angry and starting to embrace his dark side. Very, slightly more not deep. Like, it's definitely family available, but it's not
Mm.
like the original animated film that you were referring to, which was an evolution of the TV series. More adult, I think, than some people initially expected. I think in some of its turns,
Oh, yeah.
but very, very good, very engaging as a movie, I thought.
Yeah, overall, I thought it was, I wasn't expecting how good of a movie it was going to be. So, for me, it's definitely my top three Transformers movies. And then, yeah, I mean, you guys already kind of explained everything. The color palette, the color choices, super awesome, visually appetizing movie. Just an audio again, just not terrible, but not fully engaging and atmospheric, and just another layer to throw you into that world,
Mm.
like some of the audio tracks. So I thought it was overall a great movie. Grab it if you haven't seen it, but just don't be expecting too much from Atmos. Still sounds good, but just not a crazy effects movie in
Yeah,
that regard.
I thought it was gonna be a double header for like Alien Romulus and then next week Transformers. I was like, this is gonna be the month where I'm blown away, but man, what a letdown. Unfortunately, I think the trailers hurt it at the box office because it just came off as like maybe like a Saturday morning cartoon they turned into a film. So I think that really kind of hurt.
Yeah, didn't see it coming, the
Yeah.
way that played out from the
Yeah, it didn't.
trailers, anyways.
It didn't. I don't, and it didn't have a natural hook, right? I mean, when the original came out, it was coming out as a sequel, really, to the animated film that had become a 4 o'clock staple in kids' lives in the 1980s and early 90s, and the other films were big Michael Bay celebrated things. You didn't need to do that to leverage the IP, and this one was sort of like, we're doing animation again. I mean, we know the franchise,
Mhm.
but it didn't have that same buildup that was sort of present in order to hook people in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you guys have a Kaleidescape or if you can catch it at some point in time, definitely watch it because it's worth a watch. It's a really good movie, very underrated, I
Yeah,
feel.
Definitely add it to your list to a possible Black Friday sale. I could see potentially marking it, save it, wait it. The
That's
time is upon us to where you can start really loading up on the Kaleidescape for good deals and good prices.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you put it on your wish list, and we'll get you a notification when it comes in. I will also say this is one of the things people also don't know about it. It's just one of those nerd details. This director who directed the Transformers film is the same person who directed Toy Story 4.
Really?
So yeah, so
Okay.
this is not somebody out of the blue. This is bona fides.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things that you see. Always nice to see people making good work, continuing to build and create new work that's really entertaining.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it makes sense. Makes sense now. Too bad Keanu Reeves was in it. Next one we got is
But they
Piece
had
by
Bad
Piece.
Acetron.
Yeah, yeah. Badassatron. Oh, I love the whole. I love the Key and Peele thing in the movie.
Yeah.
All right, so Piece by Piece is next. This one is in Dolby Vision, 57.2 gigs, and then HDR10, 51.7 gigs. So I didn't exactly watch this on the Kaleidescape, but I did watch it digitally, and I didn't review it because, well, we'll get to that in a second here. Anyways, this looks like your typical, Lego movie, as all the other Lego movies look. Again, another animated CG animated movie, great looking as all the other animated movies on this list. The colors are very vibrant in this one, actually.
Stunning.
And yeah, fantastic looking. What can I say? I mean, it's digital, looks crisp, it's sharp, tons of detail, especially like the detail in the actual Lego blocks itself are really good looking.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. It's like a 9 something for video, 100%. Unfortunately, I don't know what's going on with all the animated movies this month,
The
but
animated movies are not hitting for you, my
oh
friend.
my God, dude, there's like, I think there was a couple moments during the songs where we got a little bit of Atmos activity, but for the duration of the movie, there's nothing in it, man. What is happening with these movies? There's no Atmos in this movie as well. So I mean, even though some of the music bits in it are okay, there's a couple flashes of Atmos effects, but it really doesn't add anything. It's just like a little blip here and there. As far as an enjoyability factor, I mean, it's Pharrell, like a autobiography on Pharrell, I guess.
Yep.
I wasn't too interested in it. I just saw it because I figured the music would be awesome. I mean, it's okay. Um, Not exactly my type of movie. I watched it just to watch it, and I don't know. I personally probably wouldn't buy it myself. Maybe if you're a Lego fan, buy it. I don't know. That's my take on it. It's a great looking movie, 100%. It's in the nines. Audio, I'm giving the audio a 5 again. That's why I didn't do it, because I didn't want to spend the 8 hours editing a video. So yeah, no for the no for audio, but video looks great. Movie wise, pass for me. Luke.
Yeah, I mean, I think you should just put all your 5s on this review show. This is a perfect time for you to get them out of here. Then you don't have to invest in the editing. You still
Start
just
calling
be
it
like,
5 5s.
not for me.
Here's the 5 movies that we listed as 5 in the audio department.
This is such an interesting movie to me. One, because as a documentary piece, documentaries can, especially like focused on being positive personal biography movies, if they don't have really wild, salacious stories, which is usually the hook, that's sort of behind the music angle that a lot of music documentaries have. Then they try to be positive, and then they can end up being a little bit toothless. And I think that the visual engagement that they got by putting it out into this format is great. I also think that just the concept of, how Pharrell experiences the world with synesthesia and trying to put the movie in a format that communicates that in some way, that to him, sound is color in some living way, and having an animation style that allows that to kind of be presented, I thought was great. And sort of the little evolutions of him telling the stories of, here's me after a meeting with Snoop, which ridiculously he turns into a dog while he was talking to him for, and then he's starting to come up with the beat riff line for "Drop It Like It's Hot." I loved it. Like, totally engaging to me in little musical snippets. It's a 90-minute film. It's not going to take away your whole afternoon. It's relatively positive and uplifting, a little bit anesthetized for some of the sort of less salient. I mean, he's vaguely alludes to some of the crazier things that are going on. But I had a very positive experience of this movie.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too, and like you said, I think just being able to take it into the animated realm allowed him to kind of explore that creativity side that you definitely see in his music, but it allowed him to kind of show you what I guess he's capable of, but also gives him another form of expression of how he kind of sees his life. Not through Legos per se, but like you said, it just allows you to get into that non-realistic like world, but you can still relate to it because it is his life story, in a sense, but you kind of see where he's coming from in regards to his creativity style, how he kind of sees sound and how that just, is expressed throughout the movie. I thought it was a very interesting movie. I liked it. I enjoyed it a lot. Is it a blockbuster? Oh my gosh, got to see it tomorrow type of thing? No, but I really enjoy his music. I really enjoy like that culture of music and everything. So I thought it was super interesting 'cause some of the songs I didn't realize he created
Mm.
was cool.
He's an incredible producer. I mean, I will also say I put the qualifier out there. It is a movie that's a biography about him that he stars in, that's directed by him. So in all ways, there's a layer of it which is self-advertising,
Yeah.
and I think you have moments where you're more conscious of that during the film than others. But it didn't cut away from my enjoyment. I am with the certified 90% of audience goers that had a good time watching this guy.
Yeah.
Yep, indeed.
Oh, that's right. I forgot they had the scores here.
Yeah,
Hold
let's
up.
talk about the audience score on the next one, shall we?
So hold on. Piece by piece got 84 and a 90. Look at that. Wow. Totally forgot
Yeah,
this feature was here again. Good thing you brought it up, Kellen, because I forgot. And I had no. There's one thing I did learn about this about Pharrell. Like I thought he came on later on in his career because I didn't know he went to high school with Missy Elliott and Timbaland. Because I felt like those guys popped really early, and then he came later. That's
yeah,
my remembrance of like his
yeah.
music career.
I still remember. This shows my age a lot, but I still remember when he was first with the Clips,
Yeah.
and he was doing grinding,
Yep.
and I would go into the lunchroom at my high school, which was like a 2,500 kid school, and you could hear at every other lunch table people sounding his beat out on their lunch table. It was an earworm that kind of took off and exploded, and that was the first moment where I was like, "Who's the guy behind this? You got to know who this guy is."
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that too. Yeah. With Chad B. Is that his name? Chad
Yeah,
B. Yeah, I remember that now. Now that you bring it up, brings me back to high school now too. Um, and here we go. Probably the most divisive film this year. So this is Joker 2, Folie Deux. Folie Deux. Somebody tried to correct me in my video. I mean, I said it. I made sure I Googled it, okay, guys?
you're a
So
little like
this,
Joker 2. Joker 2. You want me to just say Joker 2? I'll just say Joker 2.
so this is in Dolby Vision, 80.5 gigs, and then HDR10 is 72.7 gigs. This is $40. It's Warner Brother movie. I will say I have said this before. Maybe I don't think I said it in the review, but I saw this at the movie theater on opening day. I was 100%. I hated the movie the first time I saw this movie. Just absolutely hated it. I thought we were going to get a natural progression of Batman's Joker. He was going to burn down the city with Harley Quinn and just take over all that chaos. But no, we didn't get that. I'm not going to want to give any spoilers away. But it's basically like a courtroom drama, essentially. And yeah, I
What'd you
watched it two
say?
or three.
Courtroom drama
Yeah.
Yeah.
for the five
Uh,
minutes that they're in the courtroom?
well, yeah, he goes through it, and while he's in the cell, he's trying to get out of
Oh yeah.
whatever he's
No,
trying to
I
do.
I I totally coming from Joker 1, um totally trashed this movie. Absolutely I hate to say it that I hate anything, but this movie was awful.
Okay, oh,
Um,
okay,
I
okay.
can see the director's choices and the, different things that you can perspectives of, being mentally ill, and that's where he would fade off to be in a happier place. He could have spent less time in that happier place in the movie to me. I thought Todd Phillips was maybe had an underlining thing to the studio for this one, as my speculation. Uh, I don't know.
Listen.
I don't know, but it was terrible. This movie
I
was awful.
I watched it 2 or 3 times. After I got the so I saw the ending, I was like, it changed my perspective. The ending did change my perspective, and I rewatched it the second time. And then I rewatched it the third time, and I was like, all right, I understand what's going on here. I mean, this is not our Joker. This is not Batman's Joker, clearly. And if you can comprehend that while you're watching it and just understand you could have just called it Arthur. Maybe it would have done better if they would have just did that. But I really appreciated it the second, third time around. I've seen it several times now, so I really did like it. As far as like the tech specs and stuff like that, this looks like Joker 1. It's shot digitally, but still does kind of look like film. Great colors. The teal and orange color palette looked great. The black levels were a little bit raised in certain parts. I think that was stylistically a stylistic choice, and then some other parts they were just like perfect black levels. Audio was great. I thought the audio was really good. I mean, especially the musical numbers, a lot of ambiance. It's really busy. All 18
Mhm.
of my channels were busy during the whole duration if you stayed awake for it. So I thought it was great. All the stuff in the prison sounded great. The musical numbers were great. Just really nice ambiance, just everyday ambiance. Just really put this up there for me for audio and video. And I like the movie. I really like the movie. I'm looking forward to watching it again with my wife because my wife hasn't seen it. So we're gonna watch it this weekend. So
Golly.
that'll be like 5 times for me. I hated it the first time. The other four, I really did love it.
This
That's
is
four times more than I will.
the
Kudos
power
to
of
you.
the power of movie reviews transforming your experience of a movie. I think 100% it's the kind of movie that many people, if they watched it more than once, would
Yeah.
definitely enjoy it a lot more after seeing it the second time. Because one of the big problems with the movie is that it is counterpointal to the expectations that people had built up from the way that the other movie went.
Yeah.
And it's Todd Phillips' own fault. That's the narrative that he made part of it, that I think was available for the audience to read. It's not what I think he was trying to communicate, but it's part of what was there for the audience to read. I think it's an interesting movie. I mean, I think this whole creating an entire movie about somebody who's got a very skewed form of reality, and the filmmaker sort of taking us into their broken reality, which he was doing repeatedly in The Joker, and he accelerates in this film. This is just a continued sort of degradation between him and the walls that he's experiencing, between his alternate reality and his reality, and sort of the collision between those two things, and then what that's like to have it reinforced by somebody who he starts to fall in love with. I thought it was pretty fascinating take on the character as it came through.
Yeah, I feel like this is a movie that I think is going to get more appreciated over time.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But
And pretty
I think it's fair, and I'm glad you have this up on screen. I think if you're somebody that really enjoyed the first movie, and you were starting to enjoy the fact that that Arthur builds up in the course of the story, and you feel like stuff is exploding around him, and he almost feels triumphant at the end of that movie, this is not a continuation of that.
yeah.
This is not a rise of somebody who's going to break into criminality and embrace it in a way that you really connect with, in the sense of lawlessness that may be plugged into the first film. That's not where it's going.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it kind of picks up in The Dark Knight, but maybe.
What?
But this is pretty rare. Audience and critic score 32%. Wow, that's crazy. Guys, watch this movie again. If you saw it already, watch it again when it comes out on
Don't listen to
physical media,
Shane.
or
Don't waste your
you
time. I'm just kidding.
watch it again.
If I Yeah, if I've got absolutely nothing better to do, I might throw it in. I might
Well,
give it another shot.
but here's the great thing: if you watch it like Kellen, you've got a right to complain.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
beautiful thing,
No,
right?
I
Complaining into a
yeah,
vacuum, you haven't seen it, you've just read reviews. That's silliness. If you want to actually complain about a movie, go watch it.
Yeah.
yep, for sure. No, I definitely wanted to give it a shot. I love the first Joker. Again, I don't hate this movie. I just wish it was I wish it was
Different.
the
Yeah.
continuation of the first one, because I think that would have just been, it had the potential to be an amazing sequel.
I
Just
think it was
from the
amazing.
style, you're dead wrong, Shane. It was awful. Yeah, um, totally not my thing. But again, I watched it. I didn't hate it. I just, it just, yeah. It
Well, I
let me
think that,
down. I
and
was sad.
I think that's a big thing
I
in
knew what I was walking into too. Like I knew it was going to be more of a musical. I mean, I don't really think that's much of a
But was there a
spoiler
lot of music?
anymore.
I felt like there wasn't that much music in it.
13 songs? Are you kidding me? There's
no,
like
Was it
13 or
13?
15 tracks.
I felt like they weren't
no, there's
long though.
just little grace notes. We have 6 scenes that are marked, some of which have music incorporated, and just 5 things that are more explicitly closer to songs that are in the movie.
Hmm.
So it does feel like more than that, but they're brief. They're not.
Hmm.
They're not. This isn't La La Land, right?
They're
Yeah.
not, yeah, they're not full 3-minute songs, but
Yeah,
it's like, okay, like, oh my gosh. I wasn't into it.
well, and I think the
Maybe I didn't have a Dr. Pepper on me and popcorn. That would have made it, that would have made the movie a little better for sure, but I
but
didn't have that luxury that night.
But I think that's the big thing because Shane even hated it the first time that he watched it, and I think that's the biggest thing about sequels. Foiled expectations on sequels are the things that really cause backlash.
Yeah.
When you're not getting what you thought the movie was going to be serving you, that is the number one thing that is going to cause people to react poorly to a film.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the ending as I kind of anticipated it that when he was walking down the hallway and this guy was just like, "Oh, hey, Arthur." I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "I know what's going to happen." And it happened. And then I was like, "You know what? I kind of like how they did that because if they're doing what I think they're doing, it makes sense. It just
It
makes
seems
those
right.
two franchise, yeah, it makes them tie together." And I just, I really bought that as kind of like as an origin story for the Joker, basically, like a second origin story for the Joker, I guess.
Yeah.
And let's not forget about that. There's like three aspect ratios in this as well. There's the 4:3 aspect ratio for the cartoon at the beginning, and then it
Hmm.
fluctuates between CinemaScope and then one what is it 190 IMAX, I believe. It kind of
Yep.
fluctuates between those two. So there's three aspect ratios. So for all those IMAX fans out there, if there is a selling point for this movie, I know those guys that love IMAX movies. This has got three aspect ratios in it plus the IMAX. So, even though you guys only got one listed there for some reason.
Well, we market we only what we can broadcast. We don't have a broadcast that alters aspect ratio during the course of the film. So if we're going to set something to your display monitor, we want to
Hmm.
set it to the most open aspect ratio. And if you have a programming system that's got variable masking solutions, it can be responsive to that. But
Okay.
it's going to hold itself to the 185, which is the open aperture.
Okay. Makes sense then. But yes, there are few different aspect ratios in this. And that wraps up all the stuff that I saw for October. And then these are the upcoming ones that we got. White Bird, which I did not see. Did you see this? Luke? No.
I did. It's a very entertaining drama. It's a wonder story. It's called. It's a tangential sequel to the movie Wonder, which I don't know if you saw that, which is about the kid who goes into school with Owen Wilson. I can't remember who plays the mom right now, but a kid who's got a particular
Oh yeah,
face
yeah.
condition, and he wears the
Yep.
space helmet, and he goes through. This is the story of one of his bullies that goes off and
Oh.
is still struggling. He was ostracized at the end of the movie because of how he had bullied the kid, and he's starting to feel bitter about it. And his grandmother, who's wonderfully played by Helen Mirren, tells him a story about her time being sheltered by a boy with disabilities in Nazi-occupied France.
So this is a sequel, essentially,
It's a
kind
s-
of.
it's a it is a it's a sequel, but it's a sequel with just sort of a tangential launching point. It's really just about the grandmother's story as a narrative. Still very family oriented, hopeful. It's I'll note the score because it's telling 99% in terms of the audience line. This is a movie that a lot of people
Whoa.
really
Yeah.
love.
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
Very affecting.
Interesting. Yeah. And then we got In the Summers. I have not even heard about this.
And this is a smaller film. It's a beautiful movie. This is from folks over at Music Box, and it's from about a father who, over the course of 4 summers, not sequential summers, 4 different summers, his daughters come to stay with him, who he's been estranged from, and he is a troubled guy, and his relationship with the two of them doesn't always go smoothly, but it's about sort of wrestling with and reconciling with family over the course of that time. It's a beautiful film.
92%. Another good one. Okay. I do want to see this one with Saoirse. I like me some Saoirse Ronan.
This one I didn't see. This one was a very
Okay.
late arrival, and she's one of my favorite actors. I was just having a debate with one of my coworkers about, I think, it's between her and Pugh. I think they're the two leading young actors of that particular age group. She's taken a lot of roles. I haven't liked a lot of her last couple of roles, meaning I still liked her, but I didn't like the movies as much. But
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn adored. I thought
You liked it?
Brooklyn was spectacular. Foe, I wasn't as big of a fan of, but I really was excited to see this, and I've heard good things about it.
She was
Nice.
up for. Who did Pugh play in Black Widow?
Oh yeah, the Black Widow's sister. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, she was up for the role for that movie, but I guess she turned it down.
yeah. I think she was booked with something else, and I mean, she could do stuff. She was
Yeah.
great in Hannah, which was just
Yeah.
when she was just a young kid. She got to do
Yep.
one of that was more action-eared oriented films.
Yeah, with Eric Bana, right? Eric Bana was
Yeah.
in it. And then this just came out, I believe, yesterday. Different Man.
It's a fascinating movie. This is
Yeah, you saw it?
about a guy who's got a particular facial condition and
Yep.
is trying to make a break. Nothing in his life is going right. He gets a radical surgery and ends up looking like Sebastian Stan. And you would think everything's going to go right in his life, but it really doesn't. And somebody starts to write a play about him in his life before he has the surgery. And a guy who has a very similar condition plays him in the play, and he becomes very jealous of that guy. It's an A24 film. It's,
Yep.
I think, wonderful and thoughtful and a little bit strange.
All right, I have to check that out. So is this like a true story, or no?
No.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, how could you get that face and turn to Sebastian Stan?
Adam Pearson actually is somebody who's got that facial condition, who plays the guy who takes over the part. He's one of the 3 big people that are in there, and it also has oh god, I never say her name right. Renata Rinsiev, who was in The Worst Person in the World. It's like a very talented actor from, I think, is she from Denmark? But yeah, she's very good.
Good ratings. Okay.
Good ratings.
And then I hear this is really good. I have not seen this yet, but
Really affecting. This is
yeah.
I grew up with that. That was my Superman, Christopher Reeve. I even forgive him for Superman 4. And he obviously had a devastating injury, and he fought back from it. And he really, despite having really an injury that totally reconfigured everything about his life, was a champion and a fighter for causes related to spinal injuries for the rest of his life. It was really pretty incredible, and it's a very good documentary, sort of capturing some of those details about his life.
Yeah, we got 98% for both.
Double guns, 98, 100%.
Yeah, look at that. All right, I have to check that out too. Well, I guess that wraps it up for October movies. I have to check out a couple of these for next month. But the big one I'm looking for next month is going to be Megalopolis. I'm still looking forward to this one, guys. Still looking forward to it. Have you seen it yet?
Yep.
Nobody? Okay. All right.
Haven't yet.
It's coming. Oh, it's in Atmos too. I had no idea it was in Atmos. All right. This better
But
be good, boy.
it's an SDR print, and it's Atmos.
Okay.
That's nice that they've got that for us.
Yeah. All right. Looking forward to it. Everybody said that Joker 2 sucked. Clearly, they were wrong. They said this movie sucked. They're probably wrong too.
That's right.
But there's a question here for you, Luke.
That's right.
Question there for me. Which questions do we got for me today?
Well, will they have a Black Friday sale on Kaleidescape?
That's and the Kaleidescape. Yeah, we will, of course. Every at the week of around Black Friday, we always have a sale and a promotion. Alex, who runs our promotions team, is hard at work gathering details from the different studios to see what they can put on offer and getting ready to roll that one out.
Nice.
Yep. Save your pennies and make your watch lists. It's a perfect time to really load up on Kaleidescape movies for the lowest price you'll see it all year, essentially. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Is there like a number of how many movies would be on sale? Do you know?
It's huge. It's always our biggest sale of the year. Every year, the studios are very generous. It's in the culture. It's in the culture to have big sales that go on for Black Friday, and we try to make sure that we're catering to as many of our different movie type of viewers as possible, and we haggle with the studios and try and get them to get stuff that's as recent as they can make it available also into the discount line. So anything we can get into that group, we're excited to get into that group.
I know there was several movies last year that I picked up for $5, $7, $9. I think a couple of years ago I got all the Harry Potters for like $7.99 each or something crazy like that. So it's a good opportunity
that was a good one.
If you just got into the ecosystem or thinking about it, you have movie credits. If you're getting a hard drive, now's the better time than any, because the movies will be, for lack of a better term, dirt cheap here in a couple weeks. A lot of good flicks, I'm sure. There always is. I don't really know, and Luke probably can't speak on which titles exactly, but it'll be movies that came out this year. I mean, it just great prices. So
how long does that run for? Just one day or for the week?
No, we don't. The former trend used to be this incredible fire drill, which was awful because I was doing the programming, and I'd have to kind of get up with my belly full of turkey and put that Black Friday thing to flip the button to turn all the sales on. But it's become more of a thing where I think people know that on the digital side, especially, they have it in. So the sales generally start to run earlier in the week, and we get a pretty full week out of them.
Nice. Okay. Very nice. Question about, for owners of Kaleidescape and myself as well. I usually don't turn off my Kaleidescape. I keep it on all the time. Should you turn it off when you're not using it, or should you keep it on? Doesn't matter.
Well, different devices have different profiles on it, but it's the great thing about it is that it goes into a standby state if it's not there. So there's no need to hard power cycle it. Part of the logic is that it's going to keep itself cool and run itself down, and it's going to take itself to a low power mode in order to not have everything gummed up.
Okay, so you can keep it on then. What you're saying?
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it. Yeah.
All right. First Kaleidescape tip for today.
Yeah.
You can keep it on. All right, guys. Well, thank you for another monthly movie roundup. Nice to see your takes on all these titles. I know I usually don't review them. But yeah, so for all those guys that are like, what? You should review the movies, Shane. Well, that's what these streams are for. So I don't have to do it during the review. So we'll see you guys again next month. Any questions or anything like that, drop them down in the comment section. We'll relay them back to Luke. And we'll see you. Oh, hold on a second. Now, if you guys do want to pick up a Kaleidescape, are there any Black Friday deals on Kaleidescape by chance? Any promos? Nothing like that? No? Okay. I thought maybe
for me, Kaleidescape? I don't know. If the dealers want to do something special, they're more than welcome. But we do not have any special promos that I'm aware of that are planned for that particular window.
Call in and find out.
Yeah.
Cool. That is Dream Media dot. Oh, sorry. That's dreammediaav.com.
There you go. There you go. No, I
Well,
appreciate
all
it,
right.
Shane. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah,
Always a
yeah, it's
pleasure,
fun.
my friend.
Yeah, man.
Good to see you, Luke.
See you later, guys. Don't
Nope.
forget to